the #1 Costa Rica real estate and investment podcast, bringing you experts from all over Costa Rica.
Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to episode 266 of Costa Rica Real Estate and Investments with me, your host, Richard Bexon. Today, we're going to be talking with Dina Tochluk. She's a real estate agent that we've actually had on the podcast many years ago when she was up in Playas del Coco. She's a real estate consultant for Two Costa Rica Real Estate in Santa Teresa now. So she's lived all over. She's helped many people buy real estate all over Costa Rica, from Manuel Antonio to Playas del Coco, as I mentioned, and now Santa Teresa. So today we're going to be getting an update on basically what's happening in the market, and specifically happening in the Santa Teresa market, which is a market I've always said that was very fashionable. And as fashion comes and goes, I'm just wondering what that area is going to look like in 10 years and whether that fashion will still be there. But time will tell and we shall see. Remember, guys, if anyone's interested in investing in Costa Rica, please contact us. We do actually have some pretty cool fractional investments available in Manuel Antonio and also Aranao. As many of you know, we have basically, I think, about 4.5 villas fully funded. We're actually building all of them now. So 3 are finished, 1 will finish in December, and then another 2 basically will be finished in mid-2026. So if there's any interest in getting involved in that, guys, again, you get usage nights, you get annual dividends, and you also get a return when we sell the property in 5 years. You can email us info@investingcostarica.com. That's info@investingcostarica.com, or just use the links that are down in the description to reach out to us. But let's get straight into the podcast. Good afternoon, Dina. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here on the podcast.
Hi, how are you, Richard? Thank you for the invite.
Not at all. Not at all. It's, as I said, a pleasure. And I mean, I don't even think the listeners know, but my first real estate deal ever in Costa Rica, or sale helping an investor here, was actually with you up in Playas del Coco.
I remember that well. And I actually have followed that client's, history through Costa Rica and watched her grown and her family grow, and it's real exciting. And that was an exciting sale because for me, opening that market, it was my first sale in that market. So it made it special too. So we were kind of first timers with that sale.
Well, the interesting thing that Sharon's daughter, Jessica, actually just had a baby on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So Sharon just became a grandmother.
Oh my God. Wow. Well, I knew she was expecting, but that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, that's great to hear. Like I say, the family's growing.
That's it. Exactly. Well, Dina, I mean, based on your kind of perspective of what you're seeing here in Costa Rica, I mean, how would you describe kind of the investment and real estate market at the moment?
Well, I think it's an interesting time because after of course, the COVID boom and the flattening out, and I think that this past year has proven a little bit of global stress and unknown, which has brought both things this way. One has brought the interest back into Costa Rica, and I feel that maybe we haven't got the traction yet, but I feel that there is definitely always interest in not only bringing a family, but retiring, people wanting to being a nomad and being able to discover this market and work as well is very important. So I think that in that aspect, that trend has continued.
Yeah.
And the interest is there.
Do you think it's a buyer's market or a seller's market generally in Costa Rica?
Generally, I want to say that it's, it's been a seller's market. I feel that, recently there has been some dips in certain areas where it has actually become, a buyer's market. And I think that depending on who you talk to, it can be, controversial. I think that, like in our area specifically, there are opportunities, to be had, which is, I feel really much in the Airbnb market, like there is definitely an overproduction, if you want to call it that. Yeah. But I think people really focused on Airbnbs when that was hot. And there's a big shortage of single family homes. And so in that aspect, if you're looking for an Airbnb or to redo something there or remarket or even turn an Airbnb into a home, you have an opportunity in this market. And really it is a seller's market if you have a really nice single family home, because that's what people are coming here with now, families, and there's the bilingual schools. And I think that the infrastructure has very much caught up to the demand. Like, I think that was a big problem in this area at the time of COVID, that the building was outracing the infrastructure that the city could provide. And that has all evened out. So, I think that, the building continues, and a lot of it is people themselves building. So it's not really developers that are coming in and doing developments. But there are areas in Costa Rica where that's happening. And, so it's really, depending where you are and what you're looking for, the opportunities are there.
So, I mean, in Santa Teresa, which is where you are, you'd say, I mean, I'm sure that there's some products that's a seller's market and some products that's a buyer's market, probably, right?
Correct. Yes.
So it sounds like single family homes are more of a seller's market. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. I think that there's kind of two layers here in Santa Teresa. Okay. There's the first layer, which are the first people that came here 20 years ago that are still here, but they kind of were the pioneers of the city or town, and and made all their homes and businesses and restaurants and stuff at almost like beach level. And when COVID, kind of did the big worldwide, people buying everywhere, this was a very desired place. I think it was probably like the #1 area of real estate in Costa Rica.
I agree.
And with that boom, all those first pioneers kind of sold all their land and moved up to the hills, per se, which is Santiago and the surrounding areas. And they all have families. They're young families, and with that, they decided to all make single family homes. So you kind of have tiered areas. As closer to the beach you are, you have the luxury homes that are on the ocean front. Then you have Airbnbs and single family homes, but they're all kind of original type buildings. And as you go higher in the hills, you'll get the newer homes, more what people are looking for now, because I think that really the market in Costa Rica in general, in the buyers' heads, if they're buying something for $1 million or more, they really don't want a project. Like, they want something that they can move into, that their family can come. And so lower you get into town, I feel like with the older constructions, you'll get possibly a lower price, but then you have to be willing to, let's take this on and do with a project.
So what products do you have that you would say is in the buyer's market? Is that just more like 1-bedroom places? I mean, what's it where you get a client where you're like, okay, the client is going to have some negotiation, power?
I think the 1-bedrooms, the studios, there's quite a few, let's say, smaller boutique style hotels that are, 10 rooms, 5-7 rooms that aren't quite big enough to be like a hotel where you're getting enough ROI. And I think that also to be realistic, there has been this past year quite a few changes in the rules and regulations of running Airbnbs. And so I think that when people were buying Airbnbs, when it was a little bit more relaxed, or the infant stage here, you could make a 10% ROI, and it was a very viable business and robust, and it wasn't quite as intense as it is now of availability, for example. So now having, new rules and regulations, paying tax, the ups and downs, having more competition, I think that those ROIs have now dropped to about 5%. And in some cases 3%, and in some cases it's just paying for the property. So if you're an investor that you don't mind, and you're investing in the land, and you're investing in the land lifestyle, but not depending on that 10%, well, it's a great long-term investment. Or if you decide to turn that into your home and take it off the market as an Airbnb, I think that you have really good chances to negotiate and still take advantage of great locations.
The one interesting thing with these boutique hotels is, and I speak to hoteliers all the time, is you need to think beyond running a hotel. That's kind of a beach club for villas up in the hills, if that makes sense. Or if you are, buy the hotel as the beach club and still have the rooms there. but be developing up in the hills, villas and things where they have access to a beach club, because I mean, that adds so much value. Because again, as you said there, with like 10 rooms, you can't really make money unless you're running it yourself, just because the numbers just don't work, or you're charging $1,500 a night and you're at 65% occupancy, you know. But you have all that infrastructure, so use that for villas, you know. And whether that's external villas where you have like, you know, day passes where they pay 150, $200 per person and it's consumable, or that you build your own villas, you know, and then you now are servicing them from the hotel. And now your 10-room hotel can become 30 rooms pretty quickly.
Well, it's very interesting you say that, because there are a few groups of people that are doing exactly that, doing very luxury villas up in like the Hermosa Hills above Hermosa, so that you're really at the beach in 3 minutes. Like, I mean, it's not like you're really far away, and you have cooler temperatures because you have the breeze of the ocean, nicer views, and then you just drop down and you have your club, beach club, and you can rent your surfboards, you can leave your stuff, you can go horseback riding, go do your ATV, like go have fun, and then just kind of go retire back at the house whenever you want. So it is interesting because there are two groups that have been doing that, like scoping, you know, and one has purchased it to do the beach club, and the other one's still looking. But there's definitely things that can be done, and not lose the permits or infrastructure that's already existent in these properties, but see how it works for you.
Yeah. Where do you think the opportunity lies? I mean, either in Santa Teresa or in Costa Rica for investment at the moment?
Well, I think that there's quite a few opportunities, you know, and depending exactly where you're looking. Like, you know, we were talking that there's certain areas in Costa Rica, especially where the ICT, which is the National Institute for Tourism, has always given this type of publicity. For example, how we were speaking of the Manuel Antonio Monteverde Arenal original triangle from the 1970s, you know, then recently with the Daniel Ober or Liberia Airport, you know, they've pushed the polo very much, you know, and getting all of the luxury real estate and hotels up in that area. So I think that those type of trends are important to know, because those are the trends that the country is projecting. It's making it easier to get to. It has more services. It has more, you know, just in general, everything. And it holds its value, you know, like Manuel Antonio and Tamarindo continue to be very booming towns, even though they were pushed back in the 70s. They still hold their value today. So I think it's important to, one, love where you're buying, and even if it is for an investment. And two, I think that, you know, people sometimes concentrate on the beach areas here, which of course are beautiful, and you have an array from dry to complete rainforest to the Caribbean side. But, you know, all the mountains in between are incredible as well. And, you know, a lot of people do buy at the beach and then end up selling and moving to the mountains because they feel that it's cooler, and you still have, you know, so much undiscovered places, but also places that are discovered. So even, again, carefully, but knowing where there's good destinations, and then seeing where you can buy maybe outside of those popular areas, but very important that those areas have an anchor, something that's going to attract someone that wants to come back, or that's luring them there, whether it's a river, a certain view, a mountain, you know, in the beach, it could be the marina, surf, great scuba diving, you know, so that there's places where people are driven to want to be there.
What investments would you avoid in Costa Rica at the moment, Dina?
Boy, that's a tough one. That's a tough one, but I could say let's bring it even tighter here, you know, to Santa Teresa, for example, which I do advise my clients coming in right now to stay away from Airbnbs, you know, or if they are going to do an Airbnb, again, make sure even it's an anchor in town. Like, don't buy the cheapest Airbnb because you think you're going to make a 10% and it looks good. You know, make sure that, okay, that it does have maybe a view, or it is right at the entrance to the best surf spot. You know, so something that makes someone want to book where you're going. But I think that right now there's better opportunities in this town, I think coming in with that focus. But really, I think that it's hard. It's really hard because even people have asked me about farming, and like right now, I think that people are doing very good that are investing in cacao farms. Chocolate in the general world is just skyrocketing because of the weather patterns. Africa's not producing as much cacao now. And so, there's really, I think that Costa Rica is blessed with tourism, with the ability to grow, with, the ability from even doing all sorts of like experimentation with the wind and the water of hydroelectronics or electric, I'm sorry. And so there is a lot that you can do and invest in Costa Rica. And I think that because Costa Rica is always in the headlines for many reasons, for the Nobel Peace Prize, for ecology, for the green, flag that we carry and the protection that we have, having no military or army, all these things are attractive to people globally. So it's not really just one place or one type of buyer. We really do get an international interest, and with loads of people with different ideas that I think add so much to the country as a whole. And I think that when people come here, they're all coming for a better life, more peace, more happiness, more time out, more time with the family. So you never really hear people coming here, like with a chip on their shoulder or anything like that. It's like really to better themselves. And that energy is brought, I think, globally here. And so I think that really, number one, and I always tell this to people, is invest in your lifestyle and the rest will come, because if you love what you do, you're going to find something here that will attract you to do something that you're going to be able to love, enjoy doing, and grow. I do say, to people, and it's probably not a good thing, but it is true. Like, I don't think if you're coming here to become a millionaire overnight, it's not going to happen. Like,
there are easier places to make money.
Yeah. And so you can definitely have a very comfortable lifestyle, and you can make, money. I mean, we were just talking about, like, there's always, you can do more than one thing here. Like, you don't have to be boxed in. And I think that that's a big advantage, and even the slowness, like people always joke about, oh, can't stand going to the bank or doing this or doing that. But really, if you find, oh my God, those are 10 minutes of quiet you get, or that's 10 minutes you can. So it's just really adjusting to the lifestyle. But I think that there's a lot of opportunities here. There really is. There's a lot of things that the country could use that we don't have, and there's a lot of things that the country gives that people can use for themselves personally.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think you've just got to be very careful at the moment investing in Airbnbs anywhere in Costa Rica. Like, you really need to know your numbers, and we'll have an advisor that does know the numbers. Because every single area of Costa Rica is very, very different, from Arenal to Monteverde, Santa Teresa, Mamon Antonio, Tamarindo, like all very, very different. And the demand and supply is very different as well. And also things are changing at the moment, on the Airbnb front as well. I always say is just don't rely on Airbnb to make money. I mean, if that's your thing, like, come on, man, like everyone else is doing that. So, I mean, as you know, that's where, we differ a little bit just because of our luxury travel network and also direct marketing, but not everyone wants to have a business, and that's sometimes what it is, where some people just want a place and they'll be like, look, make me a couple of percent and appreciate in value over the coming years. And I'm good with that.
Yeah. And I think that's where it got a little bit skewed, was like after that COVID, that it was like so many people were looking at like a little bit of easy money. But I really do think that there is a real market for luxury tourism.
I agree.
And there's beautiful homes here that do fantastic, but they work it, and it's like, still, and it is a great market and it's a great business, but it is a job, so. Definitely. I think that with that outlook, you can definitely go either way. But I would avoid Airbnbs as your main income right now.
Yeah. Is there a question, Dina, that I haven't asked you that you would have liked me to ask?
Well, I think that a lot of times and I've kind of mentioned it a little bit right now in this interview, is that Costa Rica is very small. and I think that when people come here for the first time and they may land in one place or another, they don't realize how different it is from, let's say, Guanacaste down to the Osa. You can hit every beach in between, and it's all very different. And every bubble is very different. Not only the landscape, the temperature, the humidity, the type of people that the town, attracts and that are actually like residents. And then, like I mentioned before, the mountains, is like a whole different, vibe and area. So I really encourage people to explore, because there's nothing worse than buying a house in a beautiful place, but realizing afterwards that you wanted to live 2 hours away. Yeah. So it's really important. And I appreciate those people that do take the time. And I've discouraged people, if they come very gung ho, but I know in my heart of hearts that this isn't the right town for them, that it's a great investment. I know you love the house, and I know that, people think I'm nuts, but it's like, I'll encourage people, just take a day and go look at it. And if you realize this is it, the house will be here. And sure enough, it's a 50-50, but most of the time people are very appreciative, and they do fall in love with something that is 2 hours away, or it reinforces that they want to be here. And I think that that's always important.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just so much here that, again, if it's your first trip, explore the country first. I mean, you can look at a bit of real estate in every areas, but, as we say in England, horses for courses, there's areas of Costa Rica for different people. So
exactly.
Yeah. Well, my last question for you, Dina, is I've kept you long enough. If you had $500,000 to invest into a business or real estate in Costa Rica, what would you invest it in and why?
Well, that's a good question. So I think that if it's like a long-term investment, right now, if it was do or die right this second, I think I would love long-term to invest in the Coyote area, which is just north of Manzanillo. I would also invest in Manzanillo. I think that a lot of families are coming here and they want that land and they want that elbow room from their neighbors, and close to schools, which both bilingual, Hermosa Bilingual School is close by, and then the Waldorf school is also close by. So that has some traction. And then if it was short term, I would definitely be doing a single family home that's close here to town. And I don't think you could go wrong. It's really what you need to do, sooner.
Definitely. Well, Dina, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here on the podcast. For anyone that wants to contact Dina, I put all of her contact details down in the description, but very much appreciate you taking the time to chat with us.
Well, thank you so much, Richard. It's always a pleasure.
No worries. Have a great day, Dina.
All right. You too.
Bye. Guys, great podcast there with Dina. Again, I had Dina on the show many years ago. And as I said, it was her first deal in cocoa and my first deal just kind of in general. So it was just great to kind of just chat with her and reconnect. She's now down in Santa Teresa, which, I mean, as you can see, there seems to be that the fashion maybe is running off there. The fashionability of that area is kind of, slowing down a little bit, as I thought it would do. There has been a glut of builds over there. But still seems like, small family homes is definitely the way to go. And I mean, I'd say that throughout Costa Rica, 4 bedrooms, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom, 5 bedroom homes, there's huge demand for that. So anyway, but if anyone wants to contact Dina, all of her contact details are down there in the description down below. Remember, guys, if you're looking to build and looking for project management here in Costa Rica, or investing advice as well, I mean, especially with Airbnbs, I think you've just got to be really smart and know your numbers and know where the demand is. And really, you just need to understand tourism here. And I'll definitely say this, that I think the most people in real estate don't clearly understand tourism throughout Costa Rica, maybe in their areas, but not the whole country. So remember, if you're interested, email us info@investingcostarica.com. That's info@investingcostarica.com, or contact us using the description in the details in the description down below. But until the next podcast, we'll catch you later. Thanks very much, guys. Bye.
The #1 Costa Rica real estate and investment podcast, bringing you experts from all over Costa Rica.